Hi everybody, Scale DM Cobb 37 with a Dh&T for February 5th, 2021. As usual, going to get the kids. Everything seems to be cool on that. Supposed to be no more sickness involved, so yay. Alright. So, let's get straight into it. The game last night. Good times, good times. For those of you that are up to date on the story, we started this episode with the characters in the middle of a fight, a combat, in a underground cave with a pool, and in the pool was this fish-like creature with tentacles that came off around its mouth, kind of like a catfish, and it had 3 huge eye slits. You old school players definitely know what that is. When I say old school, I mean older, more experienced players. The name of the creature is an aboleth, but I gave it its own little backstory and gave it a name. So it was using all of its powers to mostly good effect. The characters made some saving throws. Only one failed as far as the mental domination one. So it took control of Pick, and Pick turned on his friends. Like a Magic the Gathering, they have a card where you can take control of an opponent's card and use it against them. I forgot what it was. That was one of the things we enjoyed in Magic the Gathering, was turning a creature against its opponent, or against your opponent, and then turning your opponent's creature against it, and then flinging that creature for extra damage as an instant. Always fun. Daryl always tried to pull that trick on me. He got me with it a couple times. But anyway, so that fight was fun. Fun to bring out a very classic monster and use it to its full effect. Had the cool mini. So for those of you out there that want to give the characters a good challenge, use an aboleth. They're no joke, and they're probably even tougher for 5th edition, I would think. But then again, the characters, it's hard to kill the characters in 5th edition with death saves and etc. So the thing though that was interesting was that, and the characters didn't know this, if any of the players watch this is a little inside info. So Dan's character Tamark, he likes to coat his weapons with sleeping poison. So on a man size, when the poison is set up for men or for medium-sized creatures, because that's what he normally, his jobs are involved with bounty hunters. And I told him, normally using poison isn't considered good at all. I said, so just to reflect that, if they fail their save with a 1, that means they had a bad reaction to the poison and they die. So, but he coated his daggers and then hit the aboleth right as it came back out of the water to attack COVID, who had went over there, waiting for it to come up. And so it came out. The aboleth came out. COVID, he wasn't close enough to hit the body of the creature. So to hit the tentacles, you have to do a called shot because you're calling a body part. And so whenever you do a called shot, or usually, you are delayed a phase and there's a minus to hit. So he was readying, but since he was delayed, the creature got to go. But Dan was also readying, but he was using he was throwing at the creature, so his daggers went first. So it was like spring out, throw a dagger, hit the creature, then the creature grappled COVID before he had the chance to strike, pulled him in the water. And then, okay, we got to make sure I'm mapping this out right. Okay, you go, and then you should go, and then I should go. Very good. The old four-way stop, always interesting. Okay, so, and drowning is like no joke in second edition. I don't know how it is in fifth or any edition after second, but in second edition, you can hold your breath up to a third of your constitution in rounds, and you round up. So, and that's just if you like go underwater. If you're doing anything strenuous underwater, then that time is halved again. So basically, COVID had 3 rounds to get out, or he was going to drown. So the creature was going to attempted to pull COVID closer, and if you know anything about an aboleth, it has a special jam, and I'm not going to say what that is because this creature might come up again. Although if the players really wanted to look, they could look it up, which of course is cheating, but whatever. So, but the creature failed its opposed roll to improve. So in second edition grappling, if you just try to hold on, if you tie or win the opposed check, then you just hold on and you continue to inflict the same damage or situation that you had previously. If you try to improve, and in this case, improving from having a hold on COVID to basically doing the carry, that was close because you can pick someone up and carry them when you're above ground. So in the water, I just said that it was a carry pulling him closer. But COVID won the opposed roll, which was very lucky for him because it breaks the hold, or you go back a step. So from a hold, you become free. A lock is what you would call like the carry or a slam or just a press, where like let's say you got him in headlock and you're just like, and then you get to do extra damage. So because that attempt failed, COVID was free in the water, but he has on armor and he can't swim. So he was slowly sinking. I didn't say that like he's sunk like a stone. Just because I wasn't sure if you would sink really fast wearing banded armor or not, and the whole game I was kind of feeling generous, giving players just the benefit of the doubt on certain edge case rulings or whatever. So he didn't like automatically sink, so he decided that he was going to try to climb out of the pond or the whatever. So I was like, all right. At first he was going to take his swords and jam them in, and I was like, dude, you can just climb out. It might be easier than having to stick your swords into this rocky underground thing. So I said, but you'll have to drop obviously your weapons if you want to start to climb right away. Otherwise it takes an action to stow your weapons. So he chose to let go, and then I calculated what it takes to climb. Unskilled climbers in 2nd edition D&D have a base 40% chance to climb, and then you apply other modifiers. So I thought, well, the thing isn't like perfectly smooth, so there's abundant handholds, and then so that added on some, but then having on the armor subtracted some, and so and then being in a foreign environment, that also subtracted some. But he made his climb roll, so he was able to climb out before the creature could strike again. And so that was kind of fun. It's always that was a unique situation that in all my years of playing D&D, I don't remember ever having something like that come up. So that it's always neat to work through the rules as written, and when they seem like they work, that's always cool. I mean, I can adjust anything on the fly if I want to, and just to keep the game moving. But I felt like what I had found in the player's handbook to cover this worked out good. So, and he didn't die, because I don't really like it when characters die. Sometimes it's unavoidable, either through bad rolling or bad decision making. And without giving away anything, I will say that something like that did happen later in the episode. So yes, there was a death in the episode last night. I'm not going to say who, and I'm not going to say how. The only thing I'm going to say is, I don't want to give away anything about it. So, but the fight was fun, and the rest of the role playing was fun. But even almost as important as that was the fact that I switched out the computer from my room in the basement to the one that I used to do the video conferencing with the players that aren't live with me in person. And with 4 people on the stream, they were clear. There was very little lag. And so whatever is in the networking card or the video card or whatever's in the guts of the computer I swapped out, it made a hell of a difference, and it made the game, it makes it more enjoyable for me when you don't have to constantly repeat or wait or whatever, because people can try to be as patient as they want, but some people don't either have the patience or they can't control their emotions or whatever. So I just kind of like plow through on stuff like that, but other people say things that are negative and could be considered distracting and childish. So we don't have to deal with that anymore unless something breaks. So total thumbs up, cling, on the electronic communications jam. The only thing I will say is for the next game, I have to get to work immediately on creating a map and a scene, if you will, because we stopped at a place where there's about to be another conflict unless something drastically changes quickly, so I have to get a bunch of guys and a bunch of things and terrain and stuff like that. So I'm going to do my best to see if I just don't know how I'm going to be able to pull off like hills and be able to have characters go up hills, because I don't have a bunch of like Dwarven Forge terrain sitting around that are made up of hills and what have you. Because if you've ever seen terrain, usually it's all kind of blocky and there's flat pieces, and that's so minis can have a place to stand and not fall over. If the thing could go down in a flatter area, which then it wouldn't be an issue at all, but you have to prepare, or at least give thought to all the possible places that they can go in this particular encounter. Obviously I could draw something on gridded paper. I have big like school notebook sheets. They're like 2 by 3 or some shit. So I could draw on there, but that's not my first choice, but it's always viable, because then you can show elevation with the lines going around, and then everything's flat, right? I mean, that'll be like the default setting for the encounter, the default map, default set piece. And then I'll see what else I can do. And I also need to come up with a bunch of miniatures for things that I didn't think we would get to right away. But, you have to, if you're going to run a sandbox open world, you have to be able to think on the fly, come up with things that are logical, and come up with things, to me, that can pull together, pull from someone's backstory or things you've already established are around. Save the surprises just for other times. I mean, you can have a surprise with that. Anyway, this was a thing that I wasn't expecting to happen, so I don't have all of the figs necessary. Okay, that's a clue. Okay, anyway, so the game was fun, everyone had fun, and there you go. I mean, Dan was having issues, but I don't think that he has all of the proper equipment. And then at the end of the night, he moved up closer to his computer and he sounded fine. So that problem of him sounding terrible, all he has to do is sit closer to his microphone. Or he could take the microphone and move it back to where, because Dan likes to slouch. He likes to kick back and lean back and all that. So that's what that's all about. Not a big deal. Okay, so that's it. I hope you like listening to a Midwestern D&D Dungeon Master talk about his game as if it's the greatest thing ever. It's not the greatest thing ever, but it's pretty damn cool, and it's worth 4 hours a week. So anyway, and putting money into. All right, that's it. Hit that like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. That's it. Roll them 20s.